just a few months you've taken over Bharti Airtel. Of course, you're an old hand at the company, but as the CEO, now what are your priorities for Bharti Airtel?
Well, I think, Arijit, first and foremost, I'm not a newcomer. I have grown with the company. I've been here for about 12 years now. And I think my agenda is a lot of continuity to begin with, but also bring in the distinct changes which come with any leadership that come to the organization. I must say, first and foremost, we are at a cusp of dealing with hyper competition in this country, and in any hyper competitive environment, I have to make sure that at least this organization is completely in sync with mark-to-market parameters, and mark-to-market parameters include indices like revenue market share and some others which are mark-to-market. So the whole organization has to be attuned to that. Secondly, very clearly, we have built this organization on a business model that has been very scalable and robust. No business model is good for life. You have to make sure, A, the model scales up and the model reforms given the realities of the market and the industry. I think I'll have to bring in those reformations and those design changes in the model going forward. It has been very mobile-led, mobile-centric. It needs to be now pushed to other parts of the businesses. Also bring in new opportunities into the ambit of the business model, especially on the outsourcing arena. And finally, the real big agenda is to actually transform this company from being surely a telecom company to being a lifestyle enabler company.
Yeah.
And there, the indices really have to move from measuring the share of telecom wallet to measuring a share of customer wallet. And finally, you'll see investments over this period of hyper competition when everybody is busy fighting prices from Airtel really coming in the field of network and better customer experience, and also empowering the customer and making sure that the whole customer experience softens up and eases up as we grow.
I'll get to the lifestyle part a little later on, but first to talk about hyper competition. Tariffs are continuing to be low. If you look at many of the new players now, they are bringing in many new schemes. They are trying to get more market share. So what is Airtel's strategy on that? Because Airtel earlier used to, they have always said they would not be a price warrior, but you are forced to cut down prices, and that's also affecting your EBITDA margins.
You're right, Arijit, that anytime you participate in a hyper-competitive environment, and there are very few parts of the world that have seen as high as 14 competitors jostling in a marketplace, you have to stay competitive. But when you build brands like Airtel, you don't have to match up with the least common denominator, because there's a fundamental belief that bigger brands, no matter how high the competition is, have certain amount of affinity with the customers and draw attention of the customers. That has been proven in a market like India as well. When there were 4 or 5 operators, the top 2 players combined did not have a 50% plus market share. But now that there are 10 or 14 players in the marketplace, the top 2 players combined have more than a 50% market share. It shows you the recognition for big brands.
Yeah.
It's my fundamental belief that a customer in the marketplace does not buy based on prices alone. He is looking at the whole bouquet and the value addition that comes to him. And we believe that while we need to be competitive and offer better value to our customers, we cannot take our eyes off from the customer experience, because that's what builds the brand for us. And we believe that the victory in the long run is going to come from offering value and to offer value addition and a superior customer experience.
How long will this long run be, Sanjay? Because the operators were expected to probably fold up within a certain period of time, but the competition just seems to be hotting up.
I think we are being a little impatient. It's just been a couple of quarters, and it takes time because there are heavyweights who've put money behind these businesses. But any industry which does not have a sustainable business model, it's a matter of time before both the investors and the shareholders begin to ask you the relevant questions to say, where are you throwing my money? And I guess these discussions would already be there on the table. If not, within the coming quarters, I'm sure boards are going to be asking tough questions to the management.
Talking about tough questions, how far do you think Bharti will be able to sustain this price war?
Bharti is fortunate that it's built a very robust model. Even before we came down to a cent a minute, we were structuring the company to deal with a cent a minute. And we actually built a company that was able to deal with cost pressures and also able to deal with scale. I think today we have economies of scale which are very different from the rest of the operators in the marketplace. We produce more than 2 billion minutes every day, and that gives us a distinct advantage which actually is supported by over 105,000 BTS sites and about 100,000 plus of fiber spread in the length and breadth of this country. So given the scale that we have and given the business model that we've evolved, I think if there's a company in this country that has a sustenance power to bridge through this hyper competition, it is Bharti Airtel.
You've also been known to say that now the curve may be turning upwards, in the sense that there could be stabilization in tariffs and things could be moving towards the positive sector for all telecom companies. Do you feel that the time has come for that?
Let me paraphrase what you've just said, and I would say that you saw a sharp decline in tariffs because of new entrants over the last 1 year. Market's propensity to drop with a similar magnitude does not exist anymore, no matter who you are. And I think the gradient would tend to slow down quite a bit. And even if there are price corrections, they'll be very nominal.
Many of the operators are looking at launching many new tariff schemes. I'm not talking just about prices, but probably new innovative schemes. So are we looking at that also for Bharti, in the sense that not only tariff schemes but probably new innovative schemes as well to attract customers?
Undoubtedly. I mean, the good thing about the position that we are in at Airtel is that we have a very large customer base and very strong top line and bottom line, and that allows us to concentrate on bringing in additional value to our customers. You are aware that we verticalized some of our endeavors about a year back into M-commerce, M-entertainment, and that journey is still continuing. In fact, our revenues from value-added services just about a year back were about 9.3% of our gross revenues. It has gone up to 12%. It's courtesy new services which are not solely dependent on SMS that are contributing to this change. And recently we launched our application store, and we had an overwhelming response. More than 2.5 million downloads in about 30 days is a record of sorts.
So is that going to be your focus area now, value-added services?
Data will be the focus area, very clearly. An industry which has been very hardcore dependent on voice will begin to transform into data. When I talk about transforming this company to a lifestyle enabler, it is going to be done through amalgamation of 4 screens and focus on data.
Great. Of course, 3G will help something in the data space. That's something which will allow faster transfer of data. But looking at the way the auction is going and the way 3G prices are happening, it's not going to be very cheap.
I don't want to comment on 3G because the auctions are still on. Neither does legislation permit me to speak, nor I think it's right because I'm competing in an auction. The only thing that I wish to leave behind is that in any auction, you have to see the results based on what impact it has on the industry, what impact it will have on the individual bidder, and what impact finally it will have on the customer, because there are no free lunches.
That's true. So do you feel that the prices, services are going to be expensive? I'm not just talking about Bharti, but I'm saying overall.
For any costs to be incurred in any industry, they have to be recovered finally.
So that's an indication that it's not going to be very cheap for anybody.
I can't say more than that.
Sanjay, talking about your rural foray, that's, I think, a market now where everybody is fighting for more customers. I think almost 50% or more than 50% of your customers are now coming from rural areas. So what are the challenges there? And looking at the fact that more and more customers are coming in from rural areas, plus the tariff war going on, do you think that Bharti will be able to get back to the EBITDA margins which were there earlier of 40%, or is it now 37, 38, and that's the sort of band we are going to see EBITDA margins now at?
You know, Arijit, first of all, you comparing a pre-hyper competitive era versus a hyper competitive era, which is not a apple to apple comparison. So I would suggest things once consolidation happens could look very different. But nevertheless, you're absolutely right that India is an amazing market with almost 600 million mobile customers becoming a reality in this country. 60% of the new customers are coming from rural India, and this makes this a unique market. The good thing is that when you go down to rural India, the customer has no choice but mobile to actually transport his communications needs through. And he doesn't have access to internet, he doesn't have access to landline, so this is the only form of communication. We believe that we've chosen very innovative measures to reach out to rural India, whether it's through our alliance with leaders like Nokia, or it's our joint ventures with companies like IFCO. We are present everywhere. We've invested in rural India ahead of times. We've created a very robust distribution chain and network, and also service capabilities in rural India, which are unique. We don't rely on exporting people from urban India to go down to rural India. We actually nurtured the entrepreneurial talent in rural India to nurture our distribution over there. And finally, service establishments, which are through the Airtel service centers. There are more than 20,000 of these centers in rural India, and ever increasing as we go down.
But are those places remunerative? Means, is rural India as remunerative as cities? If you have any statistics on that.
You know, Airtel has been going rural for a good 4 years now, and our results take that into account. Despite of going rural, it's not that we've not been in the ballparks. I think we've been in the ballparks of delivery. And I don't see.
We'll take a short break, but don't go away. We'll be back with Sanjay Kapoor, CEO Bharti Airtel.